This is the BrewVerie Report. Daily news, once monthly. Here are your anchors, Paige, JT, and Mike.
Hey everybody, I'm JT and I'm joined by...
Paige.
And Mike.
Welcome to the BrewVerie Report, where we deliver your news, your daily news, monthly.
Once monthly.
Because we don't like you that much.
Yes, exactly.
That's the bottom line. We have a lot today. We have a lot to get into today, so we're going to jump right into it, and we're going to start with a topic that we all know well about, and that's crime. The headline is, I was smoking my meth pipe. Tractor trailer driver totals rig. Pickup behind Florida Publix. So, a Florida tractor trailer delivery driver is facing a host of charges after admitting to smoking methamphetamine before crashing into the back of a Publix shopping center. That's one way to do it.
Yep.
So Michael Calvo, 51, was making delivery in the back of a shopping center when his truck tore an awning off the building and hit an unoccupied pickup truck, pushing it for about 200 feet.
Ooh, jeez.
Man. Both vehicles were totaled, by the way. The officers let us know that.
Of course they did.
So Calvo told an officer who approached his rig after the crash that he thought he was being, quote, pranked by a television show, and he resisted exiting the tractor.
This sounds like a Super Troopers, like kind of comedy movie, really.
Listen,
Meow.
Paige, not right now. Not
Meow.
right now. The officers, they asked if he fell asleep at the wheel, had been drinking, or had a medical emergency. We always see, like, cops, right? And they always say, I don't know, it wasn't mine, it's my friend's. No. He said, quote, I was smoking my meth pipe.
Well, at least he was honest.
Do you know what listen, how many times have we heard a policeman, whether in person or on TV, say, honesty goes a long way?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does, yeah,
Right?
of course.
Right? They say that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling it didn't fucking matter.
No, I don't think so either.
So
Definitely not.
he is facing charges of meth possession, disorderly conduct, resisting arrest without violence, and possession of narcotics paraphernalia. Can I tell you? Here's the thing. He, in no way, shape, or form, is charged for any traffic violations. Although he tore an awning and rammed a truck
That's
200
weird.
feet. I think maybe they just want to convict him. How many times have we seen DAs do this? They just want to convict him.
Yeah.
So they picked the things that were obviously going to be found. So,
Yep.
Okay, so this crime happened at a North Carolina airport. There was a 22-year-old that was in a wheelchair.
wait.
And
It was
he's-
Madison Cawthorn. Wait. Oh, I ruined your punchline. Start again.
No. So his name was Alexander Lopez Morrill, 22 years old. He was in his motorized wheelchair, and he was going through, and he was coming back from the Dominican Republic. And according to the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, 4 packages containing $378,000 worth of cocaine were stuffed in this man's wheelchair seat. He was not disabled. He was not handicapped at all. This was his ruse to get the cocaine secretly to North Carolina.
It's a miracle
Again.
I can stand and run.
Again, I
Yeah.
ask, are we sure it wasn't Madison Cawthorn? Listen, are we adjusting for inflation? Because it's fucking a lot.
I mean, y'all should see how much cocaine this actually is. They ripped apart the back of his seat and $378,000 worth of cocaine. It's huge, like bricks. It's unreal looking.
This is what happens when a drug smuggler wants to also be the princess and the pea. You end up just sitting on top trying to
Sitting
find
on top of, yeah.
Yeah, you're just sitting on there trying to figure out what it's laced with. So
He was arrested and charged with felony cocaine trafficking.
in North Carolina, hell yeah, he was. In
yeah.
Miami, they'd say good job.
Where'd you break the law?
I don't see it. I don't.
Yeah,
in fact,
yeah.
if anything, there's too little. You know, go big or go home, bro.
Go home or go big.
And I lived in North Carolina. I can say that. Now you are in Mississippi. Could be a thing.
PPI, what?
Paige. Do you have friends that do cocaine? Paige, do you do cocaine?
I plead the fifth on all of this because, I'm not.
Don't pull a Jim Jordan. Do not pull a Jim Jordan or a Trump. Don't pull it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.
Forget that. Most of them can only count 1 5. A man who won $10 million on a scratch-off ticket sentenced to life in prison for shooting.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, hey, Paige.
So American of him.
It's a North Carolina man. He won $10 million in 2017, and he was sentenced to life May 31st, 2022. Michael Todd Holland, 54, of Leland, North Carolina, was found guilty of the murder of 23-year-old Kiana Graham. Graham was reported missing July of 2020 and was later found dead in a hotel room from a gunshot wound to the back of her head. And according to the Associated Press, prosecutors said surveillance footage from the hotel showed Hill was the only person in the hotel room with Graham. He's a real smart guy.
Man.
Yeah, he had won a $10 million lottery prize from a scratch-off in 2017. But at the same time, Hill was described as a nuclear power plant worker who said he intended to use his lump sum winnings of more than $4 million to pay off bills and help his wife's business. Okay. Well, it is America, and so bills could be $4.1 million. With $59,000 left over to help his wife's business.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because this was pre-COVID. I'm pretty sure she's probably closed. Anyways.
Jesus.
So, yeah, he had won $10 million, and in typical fashion of anybody who wins the lottery, he went to jail. Or he ended up broke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lotteries are... Everybody's like, don't you wish you just won the lottery? And I'm like, fucking
Not
no.
really.
I don't.
No.
Oh, I wish I won the lottery.
But you
Well, I don't
can't
know.
tell anybody. And like that man that went on TV with the mask on so nobody would know who he was. Because you know somebody's going to jump you for that money.
Yeah,
In
Or
Canada,
worse.
you can't legally accept it unless you actually show your face.
that's fair.
That's dangerous.
But here's my question, Mike. What do taxes look like for lottery winnings in Canada?
You don't pay taxes until you've actually put it in the bank.
There is. Okay, so this guy's $10 million lottery prize only paid out $4.1 million.
You win 10 million here, you get 10 million, and then you pay taxes on the income.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I thought.
I will say this. Most lotteries allow you to either take a lump sum or get paid out over the years, right? So he apparently took the lump sum.
That's the beauty. If you win a big lottery in the States from Canada or outside of the United States, you show up at the border with the receipt and you get the money back because you don't pay taxes if you're not from the United States.
God damn.
Oh, wow.
Anyways, that's the guy. That's the millionaire who ended up killing his wife. Or killing somebody he knew. It's not the first time. Elon. What? I didn't say that. We're getting canceled. It's over.
Jesus
I'm sorry, guys.
No, we're not.
So, yeah. Sebastian, Florida, because of course it was. Something fishy was apparently going on in Sebastian on Tuesday, and a police officer caught himself 2 suspects First off, I wish they wouldn't have said fishy, and I'll tell you why in a second.
Uh-oh. Oh, God, I'm scared.
A witness looked out toward a fishing dock and found the pair in their birthday suits somewhat occupied. The adjective fishy should never be used here. Okay. The
Yeah.
reportee of this incident indicated that she observed the defendant's body part during the course of the two having intercourse. So, Timothy Wendell, the officer, wrote, quote, "Upon my arrival, I observed the defendant and co-defendant engaged in intercourse, as they were on the fishing dock, exposed to the public."
Oh, my God.
Oh,
I'd love to
God.
fucking write that report.
Yeah, it's the way that they write these things. Just say it how you're thinking it. I mean,
Oh, I
really.
got fired.
Oh, they are. They're fucking
So-
right it the way they're thinking it.
They both were taken into custody, and they were charged with breach of the peace and disorderly conduct, which is a misdemeanor, which she found out was also his misdemeanor, and she didn't want to date him
Mr.
again.
Wiener.
Mr. Wiener. So the statute says, man, dude, I love old laws. Quote, "Whoever commits such acts as are of a nature to corrupt the public morals, or outrage the sense of public decency, or affect the peace and quiet of persons who may witness them, or engages in brawling or fighting, or engages in such conduct as to constitute a breach of the peace or disorderly conduct, shall be guilty of a misdemeanor of the second degree."
Mr. Wiener of the second degree.
You know, I have a hot take here.
Bring it.
I just don't think it should be against the law to be nude or have sex in public if there are no children around.
Yes.
Hot take.
Everybody, head down to Mississippi. Paige will be starting her OnlyFans.
Never. Never.
You guys don't understand. Mississippi, never is Mississippi for sure.
My banjo's
All right.
to the left.
But seriously, I don't see the issue with it if there are no kids around.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's true. I mean,
Who
banjos to the
cares?
left,
Let people
dildos
have
to the right,
fun.
and I'm the
Here
only
I
gal
am.
in town.
Back in the middle with you.
Back in the middle with you. Anyways, the judge released Fuller on her own recognizance, and his bond was set at $500, and he's still in jail. Because
well, at
of
least
course,
she got her release, you know? Her release.
I don't think she got her release. Well done, you. Here's the final crime story. Da-da-da-da. Drunk driver crashes and then heads straight to dealership to try to sell damaged car with a missing tire.
Wow.
This was Jordan Mattingly, age 30, in Vanderburg jail. This is from Evansville, Indiana. Police say they arrested a driver who was 3.5 times the legal alcohol limit. Y'all.
So
That's
he was
pretty
like,
high.
he was just like, fuck, I gotta go to the dealership now.
He's trying to get away from Gary, Indiana. It's
Listen.
not safe here.
Every show I do has an alcohol content. Even the shows that aren't named with alcohol require alcohol. And even I would be dead at 3.5 times the legal limit.
That's a challenge.
It is challenge accepted. That's what the millennials say, I think. I am a millennial. Yeah, that's what we say. 5 people called 911. Officers said the call started coming in around 4:40. They said witnesses reported seeing an SUV hit the median near Main Street. They say the crash caused a flat tire and the car to smoke, but the driver kept going. Okay. Others say the
Wow.
driver was all over the road and missing a front tire. He stopped at the car dealership and appeared, quote, scientific now, quote, super drunk.
As the younger people would say is, yeet the liver. I think.
Yeet the whole thing.
I'm dead.
Yeet.
Take the liver, yeet it, throw it in the trash.
Oh my god, I'm dead. Listen, this guy was trying. He showed up at a car dealership and was trying to sell his SUV. The guy had swelling and scratches as if he'd been in a crash. Imagine that.
No.
They say he smelled of alcohol. Imagine that. He fell several times. Captain Obvious. And they said that he tested, so .08 is the legal limit in every state. He tested at .291.
Dang.
Wow.
So I wonder what the people at the dealership initially thought when he came rolling in, smoke everywhere. He gets out, just swollen, beat up.
This is why I'm not a dealer, is because I would have shaken his fucking hand and given him a car because holy shit, how did you make it? And how are you alive and breathing?
Yeah, how are you alive? Seriously.
I do not condone drunk driving.
No.
So police say that inside the SUV, if you had to pick 2 alcohols for this guy to be drinking, 2 cans, what would you think it would be?
Old English?
Budweiser? No?
No. I need you to think trashier.
Okay, wait.
Cans.
Bush
I don't know.
or...
All right.
Go ahead.
They found 4 Loco cans
Oh, damn.
and a can of White Claw.
Oh, yeah, he was gone off his ass.
This kid was literally every white blonde girl's wedding. You're welcome. Matt, don't lie, Paige. You're not blonde, obviously, but you know you want like a canoe of White Claw.
Do you know, I think I'm the only person that has never tried White Claw or Four Loko. Especially Four Loko, because people freak me out when they talk about their experience with it.
So according to Christian doctrine, or Catholic doctrine, you are 2 miracles short of sainthood.
Hey, I would not go that far.
I would, and I did. I'm cradle Catholic. I'm qualified. He's facing several charges, and he's this. Here's the best part. This guy is the son of the manager for the Miami Marlins, and that guy is former professional baseball player Don Mattingly. So it's his son. So, well done you, and he's got money. Daddy's got money. Why are you fucking buying Four Loko?
Yeah, no shit.
And honestly, that's the real crime here. So, that's my last crime.
What did you say was the legal limit there in the States?
Usually it's .08.
And here, at least in British Columbia, it's .05. It's even lower.
I'm fine
Well, I mean,
with
of
that.
course it is. You don't have to shove in our face how much better Canada is in every way than America. Thank you, Mike.
You're wrong, Paige. He wasn't.
You're
shoving it in our
welcome, and
face.
also you're wrong.
He was shoving it up our butt. And we both
No
liked
lube.
it. It was fine.
Just dry. Yeah, all in.
That's the only way to be.
Canada dry.
All right.
Canada.
Ginger nail.
Ginger hell no.
When you're looking for a thirst-quenching beverage, ginger ale from Canada Dry.
Oh, man.
This actually goes really well after that. Mystery vibration rattles Saskatoon homeowners while manufacturing plant hunts for cause.
By rattles, do you mean got them off?
Maybe.
All right.
So, for people playing the home games, Saskatoon is in the province of Saskatchewan.
What he means is for any Americans listening.
For all you Americans listening, let me help you out here.
Yeah. So, Sylvain Quirion describes it as a pulsating hum that rattles his oven, his barbecue, silverware, and toolbox in his garage.
Hey, Paige. Have you ever had a rattling hum that shook your oven?
Don't do this.
Carol Zendler says that the terrible vibrations are cracking her walls, stopping clocks, and shaking her china cabinet Well, Gary Polshuk calls it simply the vibration.
At this point, they know what the fuck they're doing. They know that they're giving BrewVerie Report material.
Yeah. The trio lived side by side in bungalows on the 1700 block of First Avenue North in Saskatoon. For the past 2 years, they and other neighbors on the block say they've lived with a mysterious vibration that comes at different hours of the day, evening, and the middle of the night.
Yeah, never mind.
That's what the wife said in order to make it sound like she didn't have one.
The residents say it all began when ABC Manufacturing built a block-long warehouse that looms over their homes from across the back alley. It's been 2 years, and yeah, ever since they moved in, we've been just getting vibrations all the time.
Why are you complaining?
Because she was standing every time. She wasn't sitting in a chair.
That makes it more interesting and more fun.
It's a quote. Turn a lot of music up. It's just stressful for me because it's a constant low hum. You can constantly feel and hear it in the house, said Zentner.
She's just angry because it doesn't change in intensity and surprise her. See?
Yeah, it must not pulsate like... never mind.
Yeah.
I just really don't want to do this.
Control L. Control L.
Matt Grazier, director of the city's Community Standards Department, wrote in an email that the bylaw compliance team had completed several inspections in the area, both inside the building and at some of the nearby residences, and have not observed in person any instances of the issue. Grazier wrote that the case is not closed. We have an open file on this property and are continuing to follow up with some of the residents in the area to hopefully pinpoint what may be causing the noise issue.
That file's a hoe, Zach.
I mean, okay, so either this is really happening or she's saying this for money to get some kind of money out of it, or her house is haunted by some sexual ghost.
This reminds me
I'm
a little
not
bit
dead
of...
yet, Paige.
There's an area in the United States that has a hum problem too. Kind of reminds me of that.
Where? I'm gonna follow up with that question. just
Y'all
to make you
know
Google.
the... I want to say it's Cuba, but I could be wrong, where it's like the worldwide hum, and they say that it could be like a military tactic, psychological warfare, that we all hear this hum in our ears sometimes. And our girls over at Curly Conspiracy, they covered this, and I'd heard about it before, but I recommend everybody go check that out because it's just super interesting. But
here we go. It was actually the Windsor hum that I was thinking of, which was on both the U.S. and Canada side of the border since 2011. And it looks like in 2020 it was kind of figured out as it finally died down when a U.S. steel plant idled down. But it was vibrating all the way from the U.S. to Canada.
that's wild.
Yeah.
It's the only time where most people are cool with fossil fuels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one time America did something good for others. Just make them vibrate a little.
this more.
Yes, we like this.
I'm going to start off with the one that I think y'all will get a kick out of for sure. This is in I'm telling y'all, I had a lot of stories from North Carolina. So this title says, Judge says regulators are wrong to ban beer label that had a naked man on it. So, a federal judge says North Carolina regulators were wrong to reject a beer label that featured a silhouette of a naked man standing next to a campfire.
It's literally every third man in North Carolina. Just literally always standing naked next to a campfire.
Now, the real question is, how much was he standing in front of that fire?
That's what I want to know too. I want to see it. So The owners of the Maryland-based Flying Dog Brewery argued that the North Carolina Alcohol Beverage Control Commission violated their First Amendment rights by rejecting the label for its Freezin' Season Winter Ale. And the commission had said the label was in bad taste, but later allowed the beer to be sold. Flying Dog proceeded with the lawsuit anyway, hoping to get the regulation struck down. Well, the U.S. District Judge Terrence W. Boyle, he ruled in favor of the craft brewery last week, finding that the regulation was vague and overbroad and violated the free speech rights of Flying Dog and its competitors. So they got their way, and it says the First Amendment is the last defense against any authoritarian and arbitrary government, and it must be protected against any and all threats.
It's funny because I both kind of disagree with that statement and also think that beer label should happen.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with that fucking beer label.
No.
Not one thing.
No,
Even a kid would look at it and be like, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what you think in your mind that it might look like is totally not what it looks like.
Not even a little bit. And it is a little bit.
Scores of people camp overnight for passport renewal as long lines and service delays. As thousands of Canadians hasten to renew their passports before the summer, scores are still camping outside in British Columbia to better their chances of success.
Oh my gosh.
Blankets, camping, chairs, and pajamas were all on display on the parking lot outside the Surrey Service Canada Centre for passport renewal on Wednesday. Many a line spent the night there, shivering in tents as the unseasonable storm approached. We showed up here yesterday at 5 a.m. and we stayed here overnight. It's been horrible, says Avang Najali, who is 5 months pregnant and was accompanied by her 1-year-old father and cousin.
Listen, we're used to this kind of behavior when it comes to concert tickets or, an event ticket or something like that, but a passport?
Yeah.
That is insane. Insane. I didn't know that many people needed a passport. I wish I had one. I don't. But to stand and to sit overnight in a tent and all of that, I didn't know passports were that in demand.
Yeah. Here's a quote. I've been going in and begging them to help us, but they just keep on giving us the same answer. So, Najali is going to Europe in June. She said she's being told that there are no available appointments for those traveling within 25 business days, and every time she's called Service Canada, no one has answered. Frustrated, she paid $200 to postpone her flight.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah. In Surrey, security guards have been handing out a limited number of tickets to enter the passport renewal office every day. The number of daily tickets varies, Najali explained, so it's unclear how many in their community of campers, many of whom have flights within 48 hours, will be served.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I mean, a lot of the government offices in Canada have gone to working from home, right? A lot of places around the world. And it's been very slow to ramp them back up to working from the office. Because of that, it's hard to get people, say, renewing passports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to travel now because things are opening up slowly, right?
Right. But, I mean, truly, this is probably my ignorance, but I had no idea that so many people, would need their passports on the same day.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's just
over the last 2 years, people in Canada especially have not been traveling.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
you got to expect that a lot of people have had their passports expire over those 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Also known as the government wants more money.
Well, it says here, Service Canada is experiencing an unprecedented volume of applications whose processing has been delayed by in-person capacity limits set during the pandemic, said Tuesday. As of last week, however, said all passport services counters were open without restrictions. Counter service capacity has increased by 40%, and waiting rooms have been expanded. So things are slowly opening up. But it also says that Service Canada has hired 600 new employees specifically to support the processing of passport applications.
Holy shit.
Opened more dedicated passport intake counters in over 300 Service Canada centers. But I mean, if that's 600 people over 300 centers, it's not a lot of people, right? So, unfortunately, when you've ramped down over the pandemic, it's going to take a lot of work to get back up to pre-pandemic levels.
I will say this. I'm impressed they hired people because there was a need.
Yes.
The American Airlines would say, fuck you.
That is so true.
Here we go. While processing times are longer than before the pandemic, Service Canada said 98% of Canadians who apply in person at specialized passport offices receive their passport within less than 10 business days. It added that 500,000 applications were received in March and April alone.
Wow.
So that's a big increase.
But now I get it. You know, I get why they were out there.
Yeah, I mean, from no one going anywhere to like things opening up and going, we can go places.
Yeah, we
Let's
got to
go.
get out
And
of here. We've been here for too long.
Hey, I've been to Hawaii and Toronto now
Yeah.
this year. Like, it's time to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should head to Mississippi next.
No, I really wouldn't recommend it. Like, I could meet you in another state.
Paige will come up here. You come to Richmond.
Yeah.
We'll go
Yeah,
see
you
You
can
both
do
come to
that.
British Columbia and I'll show you around.
Yeah,
no, man.
seriously.
I can show you dead presidents. It's fun.
I can show you no presidents. It's fun.
More fun.
Even better. Touche.
Toupee.
I am not.
I have one out of... Does anybody want to guess what state?
Florida?
North Carolina.
Florida. So, as toddlers normally do, this little toddler was strolling around. He's 18 months old, and he was in nothing but a diaper, walking down the street with his pit bull. And this is not the first time this has happened. He regularly is seen around the neighborhood in a dirty diaper walking with this dog. So,
In all fairness, you can put a diaper on a toddler and they will jack it up real fast.
At least he had a dog to protect him.
yeah, everybody said the dog is super nice. I don't know if they know the dog is his, but the dog always walks with him, which I thought was cute. But also, why is your 18-month-old strolling the streets of your neighborhood like by themselves?
It's cute, but in a way that Tim Burton movies are cute.
Yeah, I mean, it's Florida. It probably has a
Terrifyingly
Glock.
cute. He's just got a
Johnny Depp and
gun
Edward
stuck in his
Scissorhands,
diaper.
Terrifyingly cute.
He totally has a Glock in his diaper.
Yes. Yes.
He's American,
So-
he does, damn it.
America, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So this is out of Cape Coral, Florida, and the mother is facing charges. Mary Jane Wright, 37 years old, of Cape Coral, has been charged with child neglect without great bodily harm. So this was on June 3rd, shortly after 9 in the morning. The police responded to a welfare check after a neighbor noticed an 18-month-old toddler walking unsupervised with a pit bull, which did not appear to be aggressive. They were spotted at the intersection of an avenue and this other street, so that's so terrifying. That thought alone is terrifying. Just being at an intersection where anything bad could have happened. No shoes, nothing, just his diaper. And when they took the baby...
Couldn't speak yet. Like,
Yeah, no. And when they took the baby home, the mother didn't care. She wasn't concerned at all. And she said she'll wait on the Child Protective Services to contact her. She just didn't care. And in this house, I'm sure nobody will be surprised, but the front window was open that didn't have a screen on it, and, no safety measures to prevent the toddler from exiting the house. And the condition of the home was horrible. This police report said that they observed multiple overfilled garbage cans at the end of the driveway with trash everywhere, a broken down vehicle in the front yard with windows broken, and gas cans, which was being propped up by a floor jack. They observed numerous broken windows covered with cardboard and a large butcher knife in the driveway. They also... I think the baby probably dropped it on the way out. He was like,
Probably, yeah. Or the dog, right? It was trying to protect the kid, but it's like, I'm good enough with my mouth.
Joke's on all of you was the cockroaches.
And there were... oh my God. There were empty bottles of alcohol all over the yard. So, it was a mess. So when police asked the mother why she left her toddler unattended and why she does so very often, she told the police that her two 15-year-old children, her 8-year-old and 6-year-old, were supposed to be watching this baby.
Oh, wow.
And she said that basically Child Protective Services were already involved and that she was advised to get chimes for her doors and windows, but she has failed to do so. Child Protective Services just advises her to get chimes. Seriously?
That's crazy, yeah. Ding, ding. Your child's running away with your dog.
Right. But she was arrested and she was released just a couple of days later, and she does have a court appearance on July 5th. She's got a long record.
It sounds like a coked up version of Homeward Bound.
Well, if you look up the story and look at her, you would probably be correct. Totally matches up there.
She definitely a producer, huh?
The director, the executive producer, everything.
It checks out.
Yep.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House! Ah! There you go. Why don't we just ask Osama Obama what is since he won by such a big amount.
Two members of Saskatchewan legislature kicked out of assembly over language.
Uh-oh.
Two members of the Saskatchewan legislature have been kicked out of the assembly over the language they used during a question period and for refusing to apologize. Independent Nadalyn Wilson shouted at Trade Minister Jeremy Harrison, asking if he was going to commit another crime. She later told reporters the crime she was referring to is the government justifying COVID-19 restrictions with the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Wilson left the governing Saskatchewan Party last fall for misrepresenting her COVID-19 vaccination status.
Oh my God.
So the NDP, or New Democratic Party, mental health critic Doyle Vermette was also removed from the assembly when he was discussing suicides in the province.
Oh, wow.
He says mental health minister Everett Hindley doesn't care about anyone added in a swear word.
That reminds me when Kanye said George Bush hates black people. That just gave me a flashback.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, no.
And the funny part is we're getting both from the right wing and the left wing here, because
Yeah.
obviously the woman kicked out for the COVID-19 stuff was definitely right wing, and the NDP is definitely left wing.
Oh my God.
The last time an NDP MLA was kicked out was in 2017 when Trent Witherspoon called the budget deceitful.
The budget is deceitful. Oh my god.
Pierre Scott Mose says heckling happens in the legislature, but all members need to keep it to a minimum.
I want to go back one sentence and say the fact that the budget was deceitful just means that nobody understood the budget.
Yeah.
That's a lot of numbers.
So one person is a COVID denier and one person called someone out because of suicides.
Wow.
But both got kicked out.
That's wild.
Yeah. Public nudity petition sponsored by former Green Party leader Elizabeth May. Former Green Party leader Elizabeth May has sponsored a petition calling on the federal government to repeal the criminal code's prohibition on public nudity.
Hey, yeah.
But she says she has not signed it and does not support it.
That is insane.
Yeah.
She didn't want to touch the bill. Because the dudes who are in politics were just like, ink that sucker up, baby. That's what they signed with. They signed with their dicks. What? This really
my
small
gosh.
font. Okay, keep going.
The petitioner is identified as James Andrew Porter, who lives in May's Vancouver Island riding. Nudity is not intrinsically sexual, indecent, or obscene, the petition says. The existing prohibition on public nudity harms society by reinforcing the notion that the human body is inherently shameful. Other reasons listed for scrapping the offense from the code include significant benefits to physical and mental health of nudism and the elimination of the pollution caused by laundering clothes.
That is like someone who will say anything, but also it's true.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Oh my
being nude without lawful excuse has been an offense both in public and on private property and within public view since 1954. Quote, for the purpose of this section, a person is nude who is so clad as to offend against public decency or order, the code reads.
So they didn't call nude. They didn't define nude as not wearing clothes. They defined it saying if it offends the community, which truly is another sentence unto itself.
So if your body offends people,
Yeah, how dare you? I think it's body shaming. Fuck it.
yeah, I agree. Seriously, because don't even get me into the whole concept of like clothes and, you know, how we weren't even meant to wear clothes at all. So it's like shaming the body the way it was born and blah, 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 blah. But anyway, obviously I made it clear earlier that I'm all for public nudity and sex if it's not hurting anyone or children aren't around.
So as of Tuesday, the petition had gathered 405 signatures. Of those, 178 were from Ontario and 72 were from British Columbia. In both of those provinces, it is already legal for women to be topless in public. In a statement, May said her sponsorship should not be misconstrued as an endorsement. To be clear, I am not a supporter of this petition's goal. I am not a supporter of public nudity. I do support the rights of citizens in a democracy to get direct answers from their government. This is an avenue too few Canadians know is available to them, she writes. Any member of the public can initiate a petition to the House of Commons in an effort to draw attention to an issue of public interest or concern. This is under the jurisdiction of the federal government and to request action from elected officials, according to an overview of the federal government's website.
Yeah, the beginning of her statement, though, it reminds me of like if you're, you know, if somebody sponsors one of your episodes, but then you turn around and say, oh, they sponsored me, but I don't use this product. I don't support it. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Here's the moral of the story. Anybody who's offended by nudity shouldn't be nude.
Yeah. You know what is so wild is nudity does offend people, and even so-called curse words still offend people, which is wild. Like words, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Agreed.
I think it's important to know that recently Mona Lisa got caked by a man disguised as an old woman in the Louvre.
Well, I want to know what kind of cake it was.
Oh, it looked like it was probably a white cake.
So like,
Devil's food or angel food?
yeah, I bet it smelled really good, like French vanilla.
You know what's funny? I have a picture here. After he threw the cake, Paige is there licking the glass that covered Mona Lisa.
Oh yeah. Yes.
All right. So, ironically enough, she doesn't even like cake. She just wanted Mona Lisa. So somebody on Twitter said, maybe this is just nuts to me, but a man dressed as an old lady jumped out of a wheelchair and attempted to smash the bulletproof glass of Mona Lisa, and then smeared cake on the glass, and then threw roses everywhere before being tackled by security. Was he wearing Jinko jeans to hold all that shit?
Seriously, how do you dress as an old woman? You're not hiding that under your wig or your dress or like.
Well, you know,
It's just.
the cake was first, so I assume the roses were up his ass. There's no space. You know, and watch out for fucking thorns. Listen, here's the deal. The museum security rushed to eject the man from the room.
Ejaculate.
Breaking the law. While the rest of those present continued to photograph the situation nonstop. Because don't protect a historical painting. Photograph. Because you shouldn't even have your phones out to begin with. Who the fuck let them take photos?
Photograph crimes. Don't stop crimes.
It's true. I do want to say that this guy looks like a Butch Liza Minnelli. The thing is that everybody seems to think that Mona Lisa painting is large. It isn't at all. It's 77 by 53 centimeters, and it's small, you know. Everything makes it look ginormous, like a dick pic. So
No, but, you know, after hearing that news and seeing how different the picture is in size and what we've always seen or always have, you know, thought of it to be was just not what I was expecting at all.
well, yeah, Mona Lisa's just one catfish. She's just
Yeah, totally a catfish, yeah.
it's whatever Hansen. It's Chris Hansen doing the whole To Catch a Predator. It's just surprising. Oh, you said you had cookies.
And that's why her eyes move. It's because it's Chris Hansen behind there and he is always watching.
Yeah.
Well, listen, so it's not the first time that people have attacked this painting. There was a dude who threw sulfuric acid on it in the 50s. And there was a Bolivian student who decided that he wanted to hit it with a stone. There was also a woman in a wheelchair who sprayed red paint on her wheelchair while she was at an exhibition in Tokyo in 1974. She was expressing her dissatisfaction with the lack of access ramps. So she...
Oh my God.
Makes sense.
So Mona Lisa had to get it.
Yeah, she moaned
Yep.
on Lisa.
Oh, yeah. It's true.
Now, didn't he do this for some reason in his mind? There was a reason for him to do that. I can't remember what it was, but he tried to say it was for some reason.
It was for TikTok.
No, are you serious? I
have
thought
no
it was
idea.
something
I'm just making that
political.
I'm making that up. I'm sure it has something to do with something
Damn it.
political. Everybody thinks that defacing something means that people will pay
Yeah,
attention to it.
true.
And sometimes it's a good idea, like colonial statues.
Yeah.
If you ask the minority of Virginia, yes. If you ask the majority of Virginia, no.
Well, it depends on where you are.
That's true. That's fair. Welcome to the Science Corner.
Bill Nye, the science guy.
Scott. Oh, that'd be perfect.
In 1983, a professor gave a urology conference presentation nobody would forget for decades. So Dr. Giles Brindley gave a urology conference talk in Las Vegas. There's a lot that happens at a urology conference. There's a lot of visuals. There's a lot of dicks. They're all dicks, and if they're not dicks, they're assholes, and they just take it. But the idea is that if you shock a urologist so badly they remember a decade ahead of time. Listen, they've seen a lot of dicks. If you're gonna shock a neurologist, holy shit.
Yeah.
So anyway,
It's either really,
vast
really
deference.
bad or really good.
there's no big vast deference. There was an attendee at the conference, Lawrence Klotz of the university, like a
You don't want
Doug
to
episode.
clots.
It's like a episode of Doug. He was from the University of Toronto. He saw Brindley in the elevator
DOT.
just before the talk. Brindley was carrying a box of slides showing what appeared to be numerous erections and wearing, quote, inappropriately casual clothing. So basically,
Inappropriately casual, huh?
So it's just some dude walking in with a whole bunch of boner stuff.
yep.
He's walking in his tidy whities and a t-shirt, maybe.
Don't jump the shark, baby. The initial slideshow, in parentheses, it gets worse, began in the most alarming way possible. He first showed the conference the penis slides as he explained his hypothesis that injection with vasoactive agents would induce an erection. And he explained that he didn't have access to an appropriate animal model and had decided to go instead down the route of self-testing.
Oh my god.
So, amazingly, that was just the preamble. Quote, he said, therefore, injected himself with Pavarin, probably. It doesn't matter, I'm not rich enough to know. In his hotel room before coming to give the lecture, and deliberately wore loose clothes, hence the tracksuit, to make it possible to exhibit the results. He stepped around the podium, and he pulled his loose pants tight up around his genitalia in an attempt to demonstrate his erection.
Oh.
Intriguing.
My
The only reason
God.
Paige is saying that is because it's the call of her people.
Yeah. They're calling
All
me
I'm saying is
home.
that Paige in a bar, if she turns to the bar, the actual bar, or karaoke, and the guy's just like jocking up his pants to be like, hey, look.
I'd be like, oh yeah, baby.
So Brindley, the scientist, he looked down. This is the best part. The
God,
scientist
I
looked
cannot.
down and he was disappointed at the bulge. Before remarking, quote, unfortunately, this doesn't display the results clearly enough.
Oh, balls.
This is like this is like the modern version of Have You Seen My Etchings? Or, let's go watch a movie. Or I really want to see Saw. Anyway, so he decided to drop his trousers and his underpants, revealing a
He's like, oh, you weren't impressed with that? Well, let me show you this.
quote.
I should have taken Viagra first.
And I quote, this article writer said, quote, revealing a long, thin, clearly erect penis.
Trouser
Long
snake.
and thin.
He obviously thought that length was the way. So the room, according to Klotz, was as shocked as you'd expect. He then said the scientist with gravity, quote, I'd like to give some of the audience the opportunity to confirm the degree of tumescence. In other words,
Ooh.
touch my dick.
Well, you know what? If you get bit by the trouser snake, you want it to clots.
I hate you. Oh my god.
If you hate him, the next line is brilliant. Brindley, quote,
shit.
waddled towards the front of the stage with his pants around his ankles, like someone caught short in a toilet attempting to retrieve a toilet roll from an upstairs cupboard. We're all laughing because we've all fucking done it.
Yes, and we all know like what it feels like.
But
and what it
several
looks like.
people in the front row, some of whom could have been partners of urologists attending the lecture before the evening ball, they began to scream.
You dick.
Ooh.
I'm gonna
In a good way or bad way?
She's in a bad way. You've been a bad boy. Anyways, the screams brought him back to reality, and he determined that pulling his penis out was not merely seen as an interesting academic point. It was a little more than that. So he yanked his trousers back up, which I assume only hurt, and then he terminated the lecture, which I feel is kind of an aggressive term.
Yeah, he was like, I'm pulling my pants up and
I'm
going
taking
home.
my balls and I'm going home.
Fuck you guys.
Going balls deep.
Ah, man. You know what? I'm just going to end with the last line of this news article. Sometimes it's best to stick to a nice graph.
Sometimes a graph will do.
Don't lie. Graphs are never enough.
Oh, let's get this ruler out.
Oh,
They want the math
gosh.
proof. They want the proof. Every time the proof is in the
Jesus.
dick. That's the phrase, right? The
Proof is in the pudding. Pudding.
I didn't want to assume what pudding was in this
Oh, God,
analogy,
y'all.
but that's fine.
The title of this is That's Mumhood. Breastfeeding BC woman saves pet goose from eagle attack.
Oh, God.
Do you know?
I'm scared. Like, this whole episode has had me in suspense and
can I-
fright the
Can I
whole
say I'm
time.
super glad that you said this is Canadian, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a pet goose. She wasn't actually nursing the goose because
No.
welcome to me.
That's what I initially thought.
No.
That this goose was on her tit. Yeah, I totally thought that.
Whack,
Like,
whack, whack, whack.
like,
No.
Like, that's
She's
gotta
breastfeeding a
hurt.
baby, but she has a goose as a pet.
It's a good distinction to make.
Yes.
Yeah.
She saves that goose, the Canadian goose, from that invading American eagle.
It's really hard to fucking change the goose.
because even
Yeah.
the eagles are invading now. I mean, can we just stop invading other countries?
Yeah.
Shit.
A front door camera at a home in British Columbia captured the moment when a woman saved her pet goose from an eagle attack while also nursing her newborn.
I mean, so you're running with a baby on your tit.
Yeah.
And, like, the picture is wild.
All I'm saying is fuck Captain America because this woman is the shit.
Captain Canada.
Yeah, she has a pet goose, which means that she's extremely badass.
Canada's Wonder Woman.
Kate Oakley and Mike Lazick live in North Saanich, which is on Vancouver Island, and say they've had a few chickens eaten by wildlife before, including 3 chickens that were killed within the past week.
It really sucks because when the snake takes him, he's just like, I'm sorry the whole time.
So earlier this week, however, Oakley was able to save their female goose, Frankie, before she was whisked away. The couple says that Frankie knows to come to the front door if she needs their attention, like she's done before when she's encountered raccoons. She just sounded different, so I went to the front door in the middle of feeding our babe, says Oakley. As soon as I opened the door, the eagle just swooped down right then, she said. That was the only thing in my head, just like, drop it. Oakley yelled and rushed to the eagle, scaring it away and saving Frankie's life. She's definitely a part of the family, said the BC woman about the goose. She wanders around with us when we're gardening. She nibbles at you, at your clothes, for treats. She's a very big presence in our lives.
I do too. I'm such a goose. I nibble on people for treats too. Like, you got any chips? Nom, 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 nom.
So, the quote here is, Mike just ran outside, and the first thing he said to me was, "You're topless." And I'm like, I'm very aware of the situation.
Like, I'm very aware. My tits are out, and I'm trying to rescue my fucking goose.
Lazik says it was a struggle to get the frightened Frankie back into her coop following the attack. That's momhood.
Get the frightened Frankie in the pen.
Oh my god.
Oh
So
my
yeah,
God.
that's the case of an eagle trying to steal the pet goose, and in our sources there will be video of this.
Oh
Canada's
my
real serious
gosh.
about its goose. And then they come down here and they invade our country and they ruin it and they take all our resources and take all our jobs.
We actually give you all our resources and we don't get enough back for them.
Well, that's not surprising.
Salt Spring Island chicken war moves to court as rooster owner challenges noise bylaw.
Wait, the owner of the rooster is challenging the noise?
Yeah.
Okay. Keep
Battle on Gulf Islands highlights tension between rural zoning, bylaw prohibiting nuisance noise.
Oh, these are white people for sure.
Yes, it is.
When you hear a story and you just know.
Warren Dingman calls them chicken wars. Poultry disputes that crops up on BC Gulf Island each year as independently as Cockley's Crow. Ground zero for 2020 is Salt Spring Island, where concerns about rooster noise have led to bylaw tickets, spreads in a local newspaper, and even a pro-rooster petition.
Oh my God.
As Island Trust head bylaw officer, Dingman's ballywhack only extends to land use.
Dingman's
Ballywhack.
bellywhack? Is that what you...
Ballywhack
I cannot.
is
Yeah.
part of the name. Bellywhack is what you want.
Noise complaints are the Capital Region District's business, but that doesn't mean residents don't complain to him, or that he doesn't have sympathy for both sides of the debate. He recently spoke with a man on a different island who thought the rooster next door was so loud its owners must have hooked the bird up to an amplifier.
Oh my God. Can you
No,
quote,
imagine, though?
I can't.
Oh my God.
I don't think that's true, but that's what it's like to him, Dingman says. It's a rural area.
I don't think that's true. Like, what did he do? Stick a plug up his ass and then hook it up to a big speaker?
Here's the problem. You guys are all forgetting the fact that there exists a subbreed of rooster called Rockadoodle. And
Yeah.
if you've ever seen the cartoon, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I watched that
Well,
movie
that's
all the
exactly
time when
who
I
it
was
was.
little.
And
Rockadoodle.
so that's a problem, you know? Those swinging hips. It's the swinging drumsticks. Yeah.
Salt Springs Rooster Ruckus may come to a head next month in Victoria Provincial Court when hobby farmer Ashley Roslinky plans to challenge a ticket for violating the island's noise abatement bylaw. The battle highlights the tension between rules governing nuisance noise and rural neighborhood zoning that allows small acreage owners like Roslinky, who also keeps hens, geese, and ducks, to raise the creatures that fill Salt Springs' ubiquitous farm stands. So Roslinky is hoping to convince a judge to toss one of the two citations she racked up in the past year, setting a precedent to force the regional district to reconsider its approach to roosters in the future. I love to. There's another
my
piece of this article that
gosh.
says foul play afoot.
Well, I'd hope there's at least 8 pieces.
Yeah. So, Capital Regional District says 3 of the total 7 rooster complaints this year have come from Salt Spring.
That's a stat that everybody should know.
Yes, I agree. The nuisance noise bylaw does not speak to roosters specifically, but does put a general prohibition on noises or sounds that tend to, quote-unquote, disturb the quiet, peace, rest, enjoyment, comfort, or convenience of the neighborhood.
Well, I mean, that's basically what roosters do,
so
is
white people
wake you up in
problems,
the
yeah.
morning, so...
I feel validated.
Sure. Did y'all know that in California, bees are fish? So this is from, there's a lot of articles about it, but this one's from the New York Post. And it says the California court rules that bees are now fish. An appeals court in the Golden State has ruled that some types of bees are now legally considered to be fish. The head-scratching decision by the California Court of Appeals was hailed by proponents as a win for the bumblebees.
America, fuck yeah.
The decision was a victory for environmental groups and the state's Fish and Game Commission, which had pushed to list 4 bumblebee species as endangered. And I will tell y'all these species in a minute. The names of them, I didn't know that there were different species of bumblebees, apparently. I know Mike is very educated on bees. We know Mike likes bees.
Mason bees only, though.
So, the court, in its opinion, gave the commission the right to list invertebrate species like the bees as endangered, even if they are not aquatic animals. The judges wrote that, quote, although the term fish is usually understood to be referred to aquatic species, the law makes the legal definition of fish not so limited.
Of course.
This is wild. This is more white people shit for sure.
Yep.
But these are the types of bumblebees. Are y'all ready for this? Crotch's bumblebee, Franklin's bumblebee, Suckley cuckoo bumblebee, and Western bumblebee. So they're all now added to the state's endangered species. I just couldn't get over crotch bumblebee and Suckley cuckoo bumblebee.
Yeah.
I did not know those were a thing. So that was a win for a lot of the defenders of wildlife and the Center for Food and Safety. All of those groups, they're all happy that now the bumblebees can be considered fish.
That is quite the wild
It's just
headline.
wild.
Cougar spotted in Vancouver neighborhood was actually a large house cat, police say.
Oh my god.
Police were called to a Vancouver neighborhood for reports of a cougar sighting in the area. What they found was something else. The Vancouver Police Department told CBC News Wednesday that officers were called to the Shaughnessy area Wednesday because of the sighting. They searched the area the tip came in from.
God.
The quote-unquote cougar was seen near the intersections of 2 major streets, Granville and King Edward, location not far from multiple schools. They did manage to find the feline.
Oh my gosh. So I can imagine people are freaking out because they think, oh shit, a cougar is by our schools, which, I mean, the animal or the metaphorical cougar you don't want by your schools.
They did manage to find the feline, but it wasn't a cougar at all. What they found, Constable Tanya said, was a house cat. To give some credit to the color or colors, the cat wasn't an average size. It was a savanna cat, a cross between a domestic cat and an African wildcat known as a serval. Savannas are among the largest
gosh.
domestic cats in the world and have spots and stripes like the wildcat it shares some genomes with. According to the breed profile by pet food company Purina, these cats can grow up to 25 pounds and are sold for up to $25,000. Though if the litter is not first generation, the kittens sell for much less. They can be trained to walk on a leash and play fetch like a dog, but still have strong hunting instincts, and the company advises against keeping them in homes with smaller pets. But yeah.
Aw. Oh my gosh.
Just happened to be a very large house cat that was walking around Vancouver streets. Yeah.
Jesus. I know that had to have freaked people out, though, because not many people are used to seeing that at all. Now, this is animals/bugs, I would say.
Still an animal.
So, the title and headline is Hundreds of Cockroaches Released in Albany City Court by Protesters. I know. This one sickened me, and I was like, okay, I had to read this. Now y'all have to hear it. So, a pest hoarding protester snuck in hundreds of cockroaches into an Albany city court on Tuesday and set the crawling creatures loose during a courtroom fracas over the arraignment of rent activists. So, the way they word things in articles is sometimes just hilarious. But it says, the buggy spectacle prompted the closure of the Morton Avenue. Just buggy. Who would have thought about that? So the buggy spectacle prompted the closure of the Morton Avenue courthouse for the rest of the Tuesday as a crew of exterminators dealt with the insects. The city police department's South Station, which is attached to the building, remained open and occupied. But here is what happened. The defendants had been arrested last month because they objected to the state rent issues at the Capitol. They didn't like how rent was going up or whatever. So 24 supporters of the defendants objected in the courtroom, and one person tried to film the proceeding, and others continued to object, and another person dropped lettuce onto the floor that was covered with cockroaches. I just get sick thinking about it. So the person who had been videotaping this whole thing allegedly tried to take back her phone after court personnel took it from her, and she was arrested. Audio-visual coverage of court proceedings must be pre-approved by a judge, and so she didn't have, the right to be recording that, but, I wish I could have seen it.
Yeah.
Gosh. It's not every day you get to see something like that.
Nope.
So, her name was Cleanna Lightburn. She was 34 years old, and she was charged with tampering with physical evidence of felony as well as criminal contempt, obstruction of governmental administration, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct. Okay, so this was the person with the phone, and she was not identified as the person who allegedly released the cockroaches, but it was hundreds of them, and so they had to shut the courthouse down so the exterminators and all these workers could come in and try to get this roach situation under control. It's just disgusting. Sure, it makes my skin crawl. Like, also all over the floor of the courtroom were like the lettuce, which I guess the roaches were either eating or was supposed to be their bedding, but there was also like other dirt and insect bedding itself. So I'm not quite sure what the lettuce was for. Who knows? But yeah, lettuce, cockroaches, and dirt and insect bedding. Yeah, pretty much everything. So, and they said, what transpired is not advocacy or activism. It's criminal behavior with the intent to disrupt a proceeding and cause damage. And, I gotta agree with this last statement that taxpayers should not foot the bill for these kind of actions. And I get that. I don't want to pay for somebody releasing fucking cockroaches into a courtroom. Like, I don't want to have to have my money
Yes,
go
but
to
also
that.
it's
But-
hilarious.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, it is. And the investigation is ongoing. And other people may be charged. So they're trying to find the exact culprit or culprits.
They're
crazy.
approaching a charge. Approaching. Oh my. Well, I got
Exactly.
another animal one here. Learning to live
Right.
with the Canada goose, a veritable poop machine.
Oh my God.
So, ask Dan Hicks about the iconic Canada goose, and the first thing you're going to get is a laugh. Oh, you mean the ever-evolving goose chase? Hicks said in a telephone interview from his office in the city of Moncton, New Brunswick. As director of parks operation with the city, he has been dealing with complaints about the birds for years. It's what they leave behind, Hicks says. They're quite prolific in that regard.
Prolific poopers.
There's a good reason why people will describe a fast and efficient process as being comparable to speed at which feces moves through a goose. Estimates suggest a goose will poop several times an hour and up to 20 times a day. So a flock of 20 to 30 Canada geese can make a mess in a short period of time. You see people doing the Canada
God, I
goose
never
two-step
really thought
around the
about
park
it.
trails, Hicks said, with a chuckle. But the result of this prolific production is no laughing matter for Hicks and his parks employees.
Yeah, I know that must really
It
suck.
is. It's
It's a
crap.
shitty situation. But, I never thought about, like, how quickly, their digestive system worked and, like, how quickly
Yeah.
they can take a poop. Like, I never
So
thought about
Hicks
that.
says that he's seen places where they counted 5 to 10 little presents per square foot of lawn. The birds can make it impossible for people to enjoy an urban green space by fouling grassy areas with feces and by aggressive behavior defending their nests and young.
Fouling.
The feces, if numerous enough and near water, can also cause E. coli contamination, leading to algae blooms and closures to swimming and other recreation. Hicks said that city spends about $15,000 a year to purchase equipment to discourage geese from nesting where they're not wanted.
Shut up.
Yeah. There's
That
also
is
a
a
few
lot of
days' work
money.
setting up the equipment and the hours spent monitoring how it's working. And sometimes it's only marginally effective.
Can you imagine if that was
Yeah.
your job title?
And it's funny too because it says here it wasn't always this way. For decades, Canada geese were a rare sight in New Brunswick.
Oh my God.
So between the 1800s and 1900s, the population was likely hunted out of existence by 1905. So it was thought most of these birds were introduced either deliberately or by accident. Then in 1993, the provincial government of Frank McKenna began importing Canada geese from Ontario. So there you go. It was Ontario causing the problem in the 90s.
On the topic of birds, we go to Angola, Indiana.
Not Gary? Not Gary? Oh, come on.
Yeah, I know.
Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana.
So,
I think there's a song about that somewhere.
oh my gosh. So, a family of jailbirds left behind a nearly $3,000 mess at the historic Steuben County Jail in northeastern Indiana. Now, the Steuben County Commissioners have approved sending that amount of money to clean up the waste left behind by a family of starlings. They were mainly in the ductwork at the jail, which was completed in
shit.
1877, that's now used by Northeast Indiana Community Corrections in Angola. The Herald Republican reported Wednesday that Community Corrections Director Brett Hayes told commissioners a female starling entered the building through the attic and ended up in the ductwork, where she hatched a brood of chicks. And in another article that I read, the ceiling fell down, and so she came down, the babies came down, there was a lot of poop, there was just a lot of, it was $3,000 worth of mess caused by one bird and her babies. That's unreal. Starlings are pretty birds, though. They're so pretty.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I'm amazed that a starling could cause that kind of damage, though. Not
Right?
a huge bird.
$3,000 worth of damage at the jail of all places.
Thanks for tuning into the BrewVerie Report. We hope you've enjoyed this news report, and we hope you come back next month for this once monthly daily news report. Cheers.
Bye.